30 of the 54 trainees, their parents and staff from the workshop braved the weather to voice their protest at the sacking of the supervisors. The chairman of the board, Mr Ray Connolly, says the sackings were necessary because ARP Newcastle is in serious financial trouble. The protesters say the economic crisis is the result of poor marketing of the products, which caused a decrease in the number of orders. But the Newcastle branch of ARP isn't the only one experiencing management problems. The Commonwealth Department of Community Services has just spent $35,000 on a report from Price Waterhouse on the management of the statewide organisation. Its recommendations will go to an extraordinary general meeting on Saturday week. The lack of supervision and the safety risks seem to be upmost in the minds of parents. They say the Board of Directors has lost sight of the workshop's purpose.
It is a training shop. If we make money, very good. If we make even, that's all right too. But if we lose a bit of money and give these boys and girls and men and women, if we give them some sort of aim in life, something to aim for, that's worth more than the money that's been spent.
The trainees who stopped work today are also concerned about the retrenchment of their supervisors.
I'm not going there unless there's a supervisor in there.
Yeah, because we've used the machinery, we've got no supervisor.
That's right, and the machineries are in there. Well, we just want somebody to look after us.
The chairman of the board, Mr Ray Connolly, declined to come out of his office today, but a spokesman for him did say that a prepared statement would be made from the Sydney office of ARP on Thursday. Mr Connolly told a delegation of parents that he will meet them after a meeting with the board. But in the meantime, an officer from the Department of Community Services will visit the workshop on Friday to investigate the safety issue.
"24-year-old Kim Hicks is a former Australian gold medal swimmer in the 1500 and 400 metres freestyle. Along with husband Bob Scammell, they're the best male and female triathletes in the Hunter Valley. But while Bob says that's as far as his achievements in the triathlon go, Kim is the favourite to take up the Australian triathlon title in Melbourne in 10 days. Already she's won 4 out of 4 Australian Series events this year. If she wins in Melbourne, that'll make it a clean sweep in the series and her the undisputed queen of the Australian triathlon. She's already the New South Wales, Victorian and South Australian champion and is undefeated in women's events this year. Kim is regularly in the first 20 finishes in mixed company events. Despite her brilliant form and her billing as favourite for Melbourne, she's not overconfident and remains philosophical.
I feel a little bit apprehensive sometimes when I think about being the favourite, but I can only do my best and that's what I'll set out to do.
Her goals are to gain a major sponsorship deal and have a shot at the American triathlon circuit next year. Husband Bob is proud of his wife's achievements and doesn't seem to mind that she regularly beats him in triathlons.
Oh, that's great. I mean, I'm only doing my own thing. It's good fun and that's all I look at. I don't look at who beats me or wherever they beat me. It's just a matter of doing what I enjoy doing.
Government-funded childcare centres throughout Australia took part in a national day of protest. The cuts were announced in last year's budget and will take effect from the 1st of next month. Staff at Hamilton Daycare Centre say their operation subsidy will be reduced from $50,000 to $18,000 per year. To cover costs, fees will be increased from $2 to $25 a week, depending on the parent's income.
Moderate income parents on, say, a combined gross family income of $35,000 will have to pay an increased fee of around $25 per week, which they can ill afford.
Commuter service of the Brisbane Water is a far cry from the Lady Kendall's previous work. The 47-metre, 75-tonne ship, which is owned by Alan and Warren Draper, has a lot to boast about. She was built in 1901 by convicts and for the next 50 years worked as a cargo ship for IXL, transporting apples from Tasmania to the mainland and tinned food back to the island state. For many years, the Lady Kendall held the record for the fastest voyage across Bass Strait. Since then, she's been converted from sail to diesel motor, but even that hasn't retarded her pace. Last weekend, she won the Pittwater ferry race. But not content with the quiet life, the Grand Lady is to undergo another change at the end of the year, as Alan Draper explains.
Well, towards the end of this year, the old Lady Kendall won't be a ferry anymore. We're taking the whole deckhouse off and she's going back into sail for the Bicentenary Tall Ships race, and we'll be a Central Coast entry in that particular event. In 1988, January 1988, 124 tall ships from all over the world are coming to Australia. All the Navy training ships from Russia and Denmark, Sweden, even Indonesia's got one. And they'll be sailing from Hobart to Sydney, and it'll be quite a spectacle. That 124 windjammers sailing up Sydney Harbour, and we hope to be out in front on that one too. We don't want to tarnish the record of the old Lady Kendall.
In all, the property, owned by leading international authority on deer, Beresford Smith, covers a little more than 30 hectares in Lomas Lane at Lovedale, just north of the Cessnock Aerodrome. 8 hectares of this farm, which has been a commercial deer stud for more than 20 years, has now been redeveloped to cater just for tourists. On view will be the 6 breeds of deer which are found in Australia, as well as antelope and an enormous aviary of indigenous Australian parrots. And waterfowl live in their natural state on several large dams. But the main point of the development is to encourage the sale of the lean red meat produced from deer called venison.
I think the tourist potential is here. It's a deer farm. It is not a zoo. There is not a great deal to look at as far as the general public is concerned, but anyone who's interested in deer and the venison, this is where they come. It's not a zoo, it is a deer farm, and that is the difference.
Somebody said to me, you've really got a hard life
by dozens of
being
invited
Minister of
guests
Agriculture, doing all those farms.
was performed by the Minister for Agriculture, Jack Hallam.
Yesterday,
He was also very enthusiastic about the tourism potential of farms in the lower Hunter region.
Hunter is really fortunate because in a very short space of time, you'll be about 1.5 hours by road from Sydney, and you have a lot to offer millions of people. That is the metropolitan areas of Sydney and Newcastle particularly. And the Hunter, with its rural scene, its vineyards, its beautiful lakes, its fishing, the Barrington Tops where it snows, bushwalking, is a natural recreational area. And this Roosa Park really just blends in very nicely.
Gas leak in the Department of Housing in Derby Street was noticed when employees arrived for work this morning. The building was evacuated, with most of the workers taking the opportunity to enjoy the sunshine in the park. Not daunted by the leak, some employees carried on their work on park benches. Customers who had come to pay their rents waited patiently outside until the gas dispersed about an hour later. Nearby service station owner Gary Shakespeare says he first noticed and reported the gas leak on Monday.
The chaps in the workshop said to me, can you pick up a smell of gas? And I said, yeah, it's been very strong all morning. And then from Monday on, I've had various customers coming in saying, gee, your petrol smells funny. And I said, well, the petrol can't change smell really. There's a bit of a gas smell in the air somewhere.
The Hunter District Water Board says the gas was from sewer mains. The spokesperson of the Water Board claims a nearby commercial development has been in breach of the Trades Waste bylaw for pouring cooking fat down the drain. The board says the fat solidified, trapping the gas, which escaped into the drainage system of the Housing Department building.
Hello, I'm Helen Hughes. Hunter Valley Mines closed down operations today while members of the combined mining unions met over a productivity claim. In Singleton and Curry, miners voted to step up industrial action unless mine owners agree to negotiate their claim.
Join Ray Deneen and Anna Manzoni for all the news tonight at 6.
It's a team of dedicated and committed educators who teach the children involved with the special education programs. The centre is a place for youngsters with developmental disabilities to learn new techniques in communication, increasing their power to learn. Some of the children like these young ones are born with congenital handicaps, such as spina bifida, Down syndrome and cerebral palsy. For them, it's a chance to learn new skills. For others, they must relearn, as in Nathan's case. 8 months ago, 6-year-old Nathan was riding his bicycle when he was hit by a car. Although none of his bones were broken, he suffered head injuries, which caused brain damage and 4 months under hospitalised supervision. Since beginning a special program which includes hydrotherapy, Nathan's condition has improved dramatically, regaining muscular movement as well as intellectual capabilities. I asked Nathan's father just how much he had progressed so far.
You couldn't estimate it. It was just so great. His mental aptitude to do things, you know, to pick up a fork or to put a pencil into a hole. You know, he can do that now. When he first came here for his assessment, you know, the idea was there, but the ability to put it there was none.
The Centre's Junior Intervention Classroom is an intensive short-term program. Primary school-aged children who find normal schoolwork difficult come together 4 mornings a week for 10 weeks. Susie is a school champion swimmer, but although she can read and spell, it's harder for her to understand mathematical skills. But she's learning. Whilst there are 18 full-time staff members, the centre is a training ground for students undertaking the special education course at the college. Not only do the children learn from their teachers and vice versa, but parents are also encouraged to participate with their child's education, monitoring their progress behind special windows. The success of the centre can be found with the improvement rate of students reaching more than 50%. But at a stage where expansion of the centre is necessary, staffing demands have also increased.
We are a specialised area, and because we are specialised, we need the closer supervision of the staff in particular training ventures. This closer supervision is very demanding on staff numbers.
At this stage, the centre relies heavily on donations and government funding, but there's concern over the future of the special education programs.
We are quite desperate indeed to get a little bit more help from the government authority, who in this case is the Higher Education Board.
If you can't get the funding, what's the future for the centre?
Some parts of it may have to run down.
If for some reason you're unaware that Halley's Comet is making its once every 75-year visit, then a trip to any shopping complex would soon wake you up. There are any number of products and competitions brought out for the visit. The Garden City of Katara, a popular attraction this week, especially for school children, has been a space dome featuring films on the comet, the solar system and the universe. The display is travelling throughout New South Wales and is put on by a Sydney promotions company. Halley's will be closest to the Earth on April the 11th, when it will be 63 million kilometres away and travelling at 54 kilometres per second. On a clear night, Halley's is already visible off Newcastle. One good spot for viewing is the water tower lookout near Bar Beach, but it's only for the early risers. The best time for viewing is between 4 and 5 in the morning.
trainer Wal Bentley's gym last night, Tiger Hammer was looking light on his feet in preparation for the big fight. Tiger, who is a former New Zealand and Samoan amateur champion, has had his fair share of setbacks in the last few months. He lost his New South Wales Cruiserweight title to Con O'Connor last December in controversial circumstances, and in January was narrowly beaten on points by Kevin Wagstaff from Brisbane. This time, however, there are two big titles at stake, and Tiger is determined to more than even the score with Wagstaff. If Tiger beats Wagstaff, who is ranked 10th in the world, he will establish himself as a boxer of international calibre. Coach Wal Bentley is convinced that this time Tiger has the goods.
Well, I think Tiger's a lot more, he's prepared a lot more this time, and of course there's a hell of a lot at stake this time. Last time it was just a fight. This time there's two titles and a world rating at stake, so Tiger's got everything to fight for this time.
Tiger, how are you feeling about the fight?
Oh, I'm pretty sure I'm going to knock him out. Yeah, I've got to win this fight.
This is all that's left of the three shops. Firemen say the first blaze started at about 2 o'clock and it was extinguished. The next call came at about 7:30 this morning. When the brigade arrived, the building was well alight, buckling windows and twisting metal frames. Firemen believe the fire this time started in the rear of the building and gutted the beautician shop and the bridal wear shop next door, as well as offices upstairs. It's believed the two fires were deliberate.
Events will be conducted tomorrow, with the remaining 3 listed for Sunday, climaxing with the Grand Prix special at 2 o'clock. That event is the quality event of the meet, as it puts the top horses to the most stringent of tests in this brilliant form of horsemanship. It's equivalent to an Olympic or World Cup competition. 6 entries have been received for the A-rated event. The 2-day meeting will be closed with a quadrille display, a team of 4 horses working simultaneously. That alone will be worth the drive up the lower valley.
I'm worried about in this sort of stuff, mate.
The main event of the carnival, the Grand Prix special, was held this afternoon and eventually won by Gabalay, ridden by Judy Dirks of Dural outside of Sydney. Second, King's Crichton with Anne Homer in the saddle, with Tavistock Mishka, Jan Usherwood in third place. Both days were described by officials as most successful, with all riders promising to return in 2 weeks' time for the Hunter Valley Championships. It certainly is a pretty sport.